여기는 라 카사 데 라스 테하스입니다. 페루 전통의 그 초콜릿 만드는 데 왔습니다. 초콜릿. 여기 딸내미도 왔고요. 여기 보시면 여기 다른 사람들도 왔습니다. 호두 같은 걸로 왔네요. ¿Qué hace esto? ¿Hodu? No.
Picante, picante.
¿Eso es picante?
Ready? Yeah, we're ready. Okay guys, first of all, welcome to the workshop of La Casa de las Tejas. My name is Victoria and I'm going to be teaching you today how to make the traditional picanteja. As you can see, we have two ingredients in our plate, that is the caramel and the pecans. And we're going to be using a third one that is going to be the fondant. We're going to pass to that a little bit later, okay? The first step for today is that we're going to take the caramel with our hands, just like this, and we're going to shake it like a finger, okay? We're going to make a finger. So just roll it like this, until you get this kind of perfect. And once you have this, what we're going to do is that we're going to put the pecans just right on there, okay? We're going to be really stuck together so they don't fall apart when we do the cover of this, okay? So you use, they're really need to be stuck together. Okay? Do something like this. They don't have to be perfect. Okay? So this is going to be the shape of this. Okay? So that's why we're making this form. As you can see, the caramel that we're using today is really different from the caramel that we find in stores or what we normally, know as caramel. Okay? That's why we can. Everything here is handmade. Okay? So we make the caramel basically just by milk, sugar, vanilla, and a little bit of cornstarch, and that's why it's kind of like a dough because we roll them by hand. Okay? We shape the tejas all by hand, and this is all because we want it to be less sugary than normal caramel. Because the fondant that we use as a cover is really sweet. It's just basically sugar, water, and a little bit of lemon, and it's like a candy. Okay? So that's why we melt the candy and we make the cover of the teja. When we're doing the cover, the fondant cover, we're gonna be really careful, guys, because it's really hot. We don't want to touch the thing when it's dry, even though I would say that for some reason somebody has to touch it. So we're gonna be really careful with the part. This is really easy. Okay, we're not gonna do anything crazy. We're gonna take what is going to be the filling of the teja that we're doing right now, and we're just gonna drop it right here, and we're gonna cover each side. It has to be really well covered. We're gonna grab it out and write on the paper that we have on the plate, okay? If it falls off the paper, it's going to stick to the plate. We don't want it. So let's go over here.
이거 뭐야?
¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué es esto?
Esto es
니건 네가 해. 네가 해. 뜨거워. 거기 옆에 조심해야 돼.
빨리 해야 돼. 물 위에다 올려. 이쪽 손으로. 오케이.
This is water, sugar,
and a little bit of lemon.
a little of lemon.
Lemon, yeah.
Lemon. Azúcar, agua y limonada.
그렇지, 잘했어.
I know who our future worker will be.
Maybe. Don't touch it, por favor.
And the chocolatejas are covered with semi-bitter chocolate. Okay, so that's the only difference that they have. They are all filled with caramel and whichever flavors that you want. In Tejas, we have the flavors of lemon, dry plum, pecans, coconut, dry peach, and coffee. But coffee is not a filling, obviously. We don't fill the Tejas with coffee. We mix the essence of the coffee with the fondant and we make the cover of the teja, And in chocolatejas, we have dry plum, pecans, coconut, and the broken raisins that are just raisins macerated in pisco. They're really great. They're actually, traditionally here in Mexico. And I'm gonna give you to try right now what is the pecan chocoteja, so you can see the difference between the flavors of the tejas and the chocotejas when you try this one. Okay, so
되게 좋던데.
Actually, the chocotejas, well, here the chocotejas are a little bit less sweet than normal tejas just because the chocolate doesn't have as much sugar as the fondant, okay? So that's the difference right there in the flavors. I think we can now grab the teja of the plate. As you can see, it's right up. It's, yeah, it's not hot anymore. You can grab it and it's not going to break. It's perfect without dropping it. Okay. And what we're going to do is that we're going to take the knife that we have right here and we're going to take this excess off if you have excess. If you don't have any, you don't have to cut the teja, don't worry. You need to be really careful to not break it. Just a little bit. This is only so okay? I'm going to pass the wrapping, okay? So you can see we have a foil right here, right to the right, let's see. And we have like, it has like a shiny side, okay? It has like a dull side and a shiny side. So the shiny side has to go up. And we're gonna just, wrap the teja like a candy, okay? So this has to fine tune it. Just wrap it as much as you can. It's shape, it's not going to burn, it's going to go bad. And that's the kind of thing, okay? And we're gonna pass to the branding paper, okay? So it's this paper that we have right here, and we're gonna put it sideways so it's easier for everybody to explain and to understand, okay? And we're gonna put the teja right where it says teja Rosalia, okay? So just where it says the brand name, we're just gonna put it right there. As you can see, we have like a short side of the paper, okay? So we're gonna take the short side and we're gonna put it right in the middle of the paper, right there. And we're gonna grab down here so we can separate the side, the short triangle in the corner. A tiny triangle, and I'm gonna close it up, okay? It will not like this, yeah. And what we're gonna do now is that we're gonna take our thumb, put it right on top of the teja, and we're gonna twist the top, with our fingers, from the throat, while we are on brand, okay? The last step for today is to give yourself a round of applause because they are really, really good.
Really high, 38 degrees, pardon. And the problem is, the fermentation will stop here. And the reason to us is better to maybe stop it in the night. When the grapes are here, the grape juice flow to this pipe because this pulgar, this wine press has a little inclination. The juice will flow to the puntalla, and later to the puntalla, until on. And later, we move the fresh grape juice over there, the fermentation area, right there. Maybe. Okay, the bubbles, they are covering the windows, sorry, but over there we have some spineless sweet tangs. In the case to the Peruvian and South American production, we use it no barrels, no cask like a European production, because in this continent, the oak tree, they did not exist. Not like the production in those countries, United States, and Europe. The reason here the production was a little bit different. We use traditional containers, ceramics, botijas. Yes, because
no oak.
Exactly, no oak, because it's interesting. When the Spanish came here, so many years ago, the Spanish, they got so many problems. The Spanish brought the wines from Europe, Spain. The travel was long, the wines, they were really expensive. And the wines, they turned like vinegar. That was so obvious to the Spanish. For the reason they started the production here, but they adopted the local technology, ceramics. The botijas, they used the ceramics, those containers, because they produced chicha de jora. They fermented corns, British corns, white corns, and they produced a drink. But later, when the Spanish came here, they saw the container, for them they were really good to the production, and they ordered to throw away all the chichas, and they filled their own wines and all the different drinks. For the reason the production in Ica, Peru, and South America was a little bit different than the international standards. And now, the other part, fermentation. Believe it or not, but here in Ica, in my city, the fermentation process is really short. In Ica, it takes only 2 weeks, and it's enough. The reason? The weather is really warm. Not like the fermentation in the United States, Canada, and Europe. The fermentation in those countries takes 11 days or 9 months, more or less. Why? The weather in those countries. The summer, it's hot, and the winter, it's really cold, right? Now in my city the weather is hot all the year, all the time. For example, autumn, hot. Winter, hot. Spring, hot. Summer, hell. The reason the production is really quick. In 2 weeks, we produce the dry wines. Less than 2 weeks, semi-sec or semi-sweet wine. In the case to our production, we produce our drinks with natural alcoholic fermentation. We use the wild yeast that we can find covering all the berries. That's the difference with our production. And now, the interesting part. Why, in my culture, Peruvians, South Americans, and Latin Americans, we prefer to drink sweet, semi-sweet, or semi-dry wines. No dry wines. Because the dry ones, to us, the first impression is vinegar. They're so bitter to us. Why we're like this? Why we are addicted to the sugar? Well, it's simple. For 2 reasons. Reason number one, sugar cane. Yes, the Spanish, they brought the sugar cane here, the industry was so huge, the prices, they were really low, and we ate a lot of sugar. When we shipped that sugar to Europe, they were really expensive. Taxes, for the reason in this region, we ate a lot of sugar. Reason number two, maybe the most important, religion. The Spanish in this continent, believe it or not, they made a really huge Catholic conversion, and they offered to us sweet wines in the mass. For the reason, passing the years and the centuries, the Peruvians, the South Americans, we prefer to drink sweet wines. Remember, at the beginning, the Spanish, they offered to us sweet wines, and to us was so tasty. And all they can say, oh, I prefer to drink new sweet and fruity wine than all the traditional chicha de jora. For the reason today, in my culture, we prefer to drink sweet wines, not dry ones. The dry ones to us, no, it's totally different. And my friends, in this place, the job is very easy and simple. Step on the grapes over here in the night time, not in the day, because the temperature is really warm. We're the grape juice over there, and then we need the fermentation right there. Oh, the HU, Nica, is really short. 6 months, 8 months, more or less, and later we bottle the drinks and we drink all the wines. And now, pisco production. In the case of pisco, we need to add the last step, distillation. Over there, I will explain to you how we produce order pisco. Follow me, please. Ladies and gentlemen, over here,
나왔어. 가봐 이제 피스코 여기 얘들 페루 애들이 마시는 게 피스코죠.
For the still alambic or alambique in Spanish. Here is place we distill the wines and it's basically really easy to use this system. Remember, when we finish the fermentation over there, we produce a dry wine with a lot of alcohol. Sometimes with more than 14% of alcohol. 14% of alcohol. It's a really strong wine. When we don't drink that wine, it's dry. We don't like the dry wines. Remember, we bring the wine over here and then we fill the wine through this pipe. We close it. Really good. Very well. Later we use wood and we heat the wine. Remember, the pieces of wood is a traditional way to distill wine and to produce pisco. We heat the wine over here, and later, when we are heating the wine, ladies and gentlemen, the alcohol boils with 60 to 70 Celsius degrees and the water 100 Celsius degrees. For the reason when we are heating the wine, first we evaporate the alcohol. And all the vapors, all the steam, all the alcohol, is flowing inside the head, later through the strong neck, later through the pipe, it's full of water. Remember, Faber and Arch, the idea is to distill a fresh wine. No old wines with a lot of H's or years. No. The idea is to distill only fresh wines. And then we receive the alcohols over here, like a dropping and dropping. It's a beautiful process. Remember, the same process with all the brands all around the world. But the difference with pisco is, for example, Nica, in my city, with only one distillation, we can produce a pisco with 40 to 45% of alcohol. And we don't need to add anything. No water, no sugar, caramel, no barrels, like whiskeys or cognacs. No. Only one distillation, 40 to 45. That's enough. Okay, the other interesting thing is the categories. In Peru, we produce 3 categories. First one, pisco pure or single grape. We distill only one of the typical grapes, white grapes and red grapes, the names. Italia, Torontel, Moscatel, Albilla, Quebranta, Uvilna, Mollar, and finally, Negra Criolla. That means we distill over here red wines and white wines, and we produce different piscos with different aromas and different flavors. Category number 2, acholado, blended. We mix those piscos and we produce a different pisco. Category number 3, mosto verde, green must. Pisco is special, it's really nice, it's gently soft, tricky and dangerous. Why? The production is a little bit different. For example, when we want to produce pisco pure or acholado, we distill dry wines with a lot of alcohol, and we produce a lot of pisco. With the mosto verde, we distill sweet wines with a half part of alcohol. The problem is we produce a little bit of pisco. That's the bad news. But the good news is we can extract more sweet and fruity aromas, and we produce a really nice pisco. And the reason that kind of pisco is expensive, but it's really gentle. But you have to be careful because, well, normally your guests, they are tasting that kind of pisco, they want to drink more cups. And later, woo, it turns a little bit tipsy, drunk, later like a coma. Yeah, because they want to drink more cups, and later, woo. The typical expressions, all the people they say, oh, how many frankers you can see? Yellow. They turn really, really drunk, but anyway. Now, friends, let me show you some of the vines. Because believe it or not, in Ica, in the traditional agriculture in Ica, the vines, they are really huge, really tall. Not like the production, for example, in the United States, Canada, and Europe. The vines, they are like this, or maybe like this. No in Ica, no in Peru. In Peru, like this. Let me show you some of those ones. Follow me over there, please.
Because people are taller, right?
Okay, friends, in the traditional agriculture, how I say, the vines, they are really huge. Like those one, like those one, like those one. And the other one right there. Why? Ica, the weather, remember, hot, dry. We don't produce enough water. We have, in Ica, in my city, less than 10 rains per year.
Wow.
That's nothing, yeah? Nothing. Well, with the vines, they are so tall, the oxygen flows through the vines and turns the vines fresh. With all the leaves to the top part, because we left a lot of leaves to the top part, the leaves protects the branches to the sun because the sun burns all the grapes, and with the shadows we can keep a little bit wet the surface. Well, the way that we irrigate these valleys is easy. Well, easy. Rain down a lot in the highlands, and the water comes here to Ica with a lot of minerals, some muddy. That's good because, believe it or not, each year we have new minerals in the surface. But the reason the fruits, in the case with the fruits like grapes or mangoes or pecan trees over there, all the fruits concentrate a lot of flavors. That's our little secret, and we don't use chemical products or artificial fertilizers. No. It's organic. Everything is organic here in Ica. Remember, vineyards in Europe, maybe like this or maybe like this. The problem is when you want to celebrate the harvest, you must make the harvest like this. Like you will feel a lot of pain in your back. You're like, oh my God. No, in Ica, you can see different. Right, exactly. The problem is when the workers, they are really tiny, because we are tiny, like palumpas. We need to jump a lot when we want to take the grapes, but anyway, that's our problem. But they are beautiful. That's the quebranta grape, and quebranta grape. Quebranta grape is a red grape, wow. It's really, really sweet. For example, United States, Canada, and Europe, when you celebrate the harvest, your grapes concentrate per liter, concentrate 100 to 150 grams natural sugar per liter. My city, Ica, is a double, 200 to 300 grams of natural sugar per liter. Here is a double. Our grapes, they are really, really sweet. Well, and then we can produce a really nice drinks, like sweet wines, and, well, obviously, pisco. Friends, that was the boring part. I know, the boring part. Now my favorite part, the tasting. Follow me over there. Bianco from Alexandria. This is the first grape that the Spanish they brought to this continent, and this grape, well, is still with us. We produce this beautiful white drink. It's really aromatic, really tasty. In general, we drink this kind of drinks really cold, 3 to 5 Celsius degrees, more or less. A little bit.
Gracias. 엄청 단.
Oh, his job is really stressful, you know. Poor of him, he suffers so much. Anyway, now, ladies and gentlemen, I was saying, this is the first drink. It's sweet, it's aromatic, it's tricky, because it has 16% of alcohol, and our guests, when they are tasting this kind of drink, for them it's like tastes like grape juice with little touches of alcohol. But that's the problem, because it's tricky. It's 16% of alcohol. But it's a problem. In Ica we have a battle cry, or like a cheers. And we say, si a Ica vino y no tomo vino, entonces a qué mierda vino? Sounds like, if you came to Ica and you did not drink wine, so what did you come for? For the reason, this is the first drink, my friends, wine. This is the soft part. Cheers, my friends. Salud. First drink. 16% of alcohol is fish and pisco. It's a liquor, remember? Liquor or aperitif. And it's really popular. Really, really popular. My city. And with you a little bit. Poquito. Well, we offer poquito because your guest is like a...
이건 레드 와인이야, 레드 와인. 레드. 응? 뭐? 되게 독특하다 이거. 되게 달고 알코올 냄새가 안 나네.
피예요, 피.
정말 다네요.
Pardon?
It's also red wine, but sorry, why you drink red wine also cold? It's also chilled, right? Same as the white wine.
In the case of the temperature, for example, when we drink our drinks, because in Europe, the red wines, United States, Canada, Europe, you drink the wines with a room temperature. Room temperature is really good if your city has a really low temperature. But in Nica, room temperature is a bad idea because remember, 25, 30, 35, 38 Celsius degrees. Room temperature is like, I don't think so, it's a bad idea. It's a really bad idea. In general, these kind of drinks, they are sweet, they are aromatic, they are fruity, they are young, they are light, and when they are cold, really cold, well, to us, they are so tasty. Not room temperature because it tastes like not so nice, like ugly. That is the difference with our drinks. In general, all of those ones, we drink all the drinks cold, really, really cold. Remember, the weather. In this case, it's really, really warm. Cheers.
Champagne.
건배. Perfecto. Salud.
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 In Quechua, ojayirusunchis.
Muy difícil.
Yes, a lot, right? I think that the Incas, they were crazy those days. Because, you know, all the people say cheers, salud, sante. And the Incas, ojayirusunchis. So long.
Ellos no quieren beber ya, por eso un poco raro.
No, but the Incas, believe it or not, they used to drink so much drinks. Chicha de jora in those days, and later wines. For them, the wines were the best drink in the world, and they shared a lot of, we say, tricky. Where you share wine for example, quinoa, kiwicha, gold, silver, work. Because in those days they didn't have coins or money. They used it to share a lot of things and for work. Okay, I need, for example, the Incas say, I need wine. I want to drink wine. Okay, if you give me some barrels of wine, well, I will work for you like 2 months, for example. It was a typical way to change a lot of things in those days. Ladies and gentlemen, let me offer to you the next drink because the first one and the second one, they were mixtures. This one is a wine, semi-dry Peruvian wine, Borgoña wine, Peruvian standard red wine, maybe for you not so dark at all. This is light, not so like dark rosé or something like that. Remember, the maceration, you guys, is really short. The drink tastes like dark fruits, berries, strawberries. It's nice. The most popular wine in the country. Okay.
왜? 다른 걸로 따졌어? 조금만 먹어봐.
Semi-sweet Peruvian wine, 12% of alcohol. It's light to drink, easy, really easy to drink. Say wine.
Esa es 12, por instante.
색깔이 똑같아. 맛있어? 와인 냄새 나는 것 같아.
Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the fourth drink, rosé wine. It's really easy to drink this wine. Maybe for you taste like grape juice or something like that. It's tricky. It's difficult to recognize the alcohol. For the reason Nica, we are really famous because we produce these kind of drinks with these flavors, soft flavors, light flavors, or drinks in general taste like grape juice. In general, tricky. In general, really, really tricky. Friends, cheers. Santé. Salud.
Santé.
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 Salud. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the soft part, the easy part. Now, my favorite part. Pisco. Pisco time.
Okay, Pisco.
I will offer to you Pisco Acholado. It's a blend. It's a blended. Okay, 42% of alcohol only.
42.
Exactly, 42. In Ica we drink, in Ica we drink this Pisco pure, neat, in my city, because in Ica we appreciate flavors like this, pure, like shots. Well, in the capital, the people from Lima, they don't like to drink the Piscos pure. They prefer to use this Pisco when we want to make some cocktails like Pisco sour or chingano. In Ica, no, in Ica, to us, like this, it's really nice. I will offer to you this drink, and I will explain to you why we call this drink acholado. Because the name has a story. I offer to you a little bit. Poquito?
No?
Some drops? Okay.
물이랑
아, 그래 알코올 엄청 세.
You were thinking too much.
I like the brownie.
I want to see who's climbing up the tower. I'm really curious. We will have 2 hours. Okay? 2 hours. 2 hours and a half from Huacachina to Nazca. Okay, 2 más por favor.
Sure! Ladies and gentlemen, the story about the name. Why we call this Pisco Acholado or not with a typical name or the normal name like blended. Okay, the tradition say, a long time ago, the workers, the cholos, they produced this kind of blended with the last grapes that they saw in the vineyards. The bosses, the owners, they left a lot of tiny grapes, ugly grapes, and the workers, they collected all those different grapes, they produced their own piscos. In the botijas, the workers, they wrote pisco to the cholo, and today the name is refined, Pisco Acholado. So the reason the name, to the workers, to the cholos. That's the story behind the name, Acholado. My friends, I would say this is a Pisco Acholado, 42% of alcohol. For beginners, sometimes we recommend how to drink Pisco. We recommend hold the breath, get a shot, switching around 1 or 2 seconds, swallow it, and finally blow out softly. It's really easy for beginners. I think we are professional drunk and we drink Pisco straight to the bottle, right? My friends, cheers, salud,
Sante.
Sante, Pisco.
Sante Pisco.
Hold the breath, get a shot, woo! Salud, muchachos.
You're professionals, you don't need to hold breath.
No, that is
It's not burning. It's not burning.
yeah, other guests they told us the same. It's like, the Pisco is strong. That's right, but it's not burning like other brands or other drinks or other spirits. No,
나는 나 살림을 좀
yes, lucuma and maca root. Well, yeah, looks like a peach, but the lucuma is totally different than peach. The peach is juicy. The lucuma is dry. That is a different, but it's really aromatic. For the reason we mix this fruit with different ingredients, so we produce, for example, ice creams, creams, drinks like this, because the aromas are really intense. Sweet, but intense. 18% of alcohol, 18. Let me offer to you this drink. I hope you like this drink.
크림 같다 크림. 크림.
내 물.
아이스크림 같다 아이스크림. 응? 응, 아이스크림. 아까 먹은 아이스크림 그런 거 같아. 아이스크림.
알코올에 그걸 필요가 없어.
먹어볼래?
맛있어요. 술 취향. Where are you from?
달콤한데.
I used to live 2.5 years in Beijing.
베이징.
Ladies and gentlemen, I always say 18% of alcohol, fruity aromas, tropical aromas. This fruit is, it's impossible to find this fruit in different parts of the world because Peru produce this fruit. The lucuma.
지리모야.
지리모야. 아, 지리모야.
지리모야.
아, 지리모야. 아,
18% of alcohol.
18.
그러면
18, yes.
18.
지리모야?
Yes.
어우,
poquito.
지리모야.
Yes, chirimoya.
고기는 주스 같아. 오늘 아주.
근데 이거 먹고서 맛있다고 자꾸 먹으려면 미치는 거야.
지금 이제 나도
서서 올라오지?
많이 올라왔어. 올라왔어.
I like it. 한 가지씩 다 사가고 싶다. 한 가지씩 다 사가고 싶다.
나 때리고
너무 맛있다. 너무 맛있어. 이제 이거 먹고 그만 마셔야지.
너무 많이 마셔.
와, 이거 끄고
Oh, no más. Oh, mucho. Mucho. Oh. Café de Perú.
Café de Perú.
¿Te gusta? Café de Perú.
Sí.
Peruano, ¿ya?
Peruano, limeño.
Marimaño. Oh, cusqueño. 거기 좋은데. 이거 아니 커피 같은데 커피. Todos. Okay. Salud. Come. Sante. Oh. Sante. 이 총은 와인 홀더입니다. 와인 홀더.
Mejor adelante, ¿no?
Sí, yo viví. Sí. Muy interesante. Okay. ¿Cuánto cuesta esta pistola?
This one is 350 soles. It includes the ball and another ball. Small version, 250 soles.
Luego, okay. Gracias. 좀 이따 가서 넣어? 여기다 넣어. 화장실 들렸다 가자. 아이고. 화장실이 저쪽에 어디 있었지? 여기 보데가 안에 공간입니다. 이렇게 여러 가지 기념품도 팔고, 저것도 팝니다. 잼도 팔고 다양한 걸 파네요. 보데가 안에 아주 좋네요. 여기 와가지고 이렇게 식사도 하는구나. 한남아 식당이야. 식당. 여기 조우에도 그렇고. 시간 있으니 이런 데 와가지고 이렇게 하면 참 좋겠네. 그치? 아주 좋은 데로 왔습니다. 이렇게 보데가. 보데가. 오케이. muy interesante. 당신 남자 거로 가지 말고. 어디야? 다마스로 가야지.
Why am I looking at you?